Welcome back, my resilient little brainiacs, to another round of Trivia Torment. Today we're digging up the dusty bones of classic rock. The music grandpa is a blasting while pretending his comb is a guitar. If you've got grey hair, creaky knees, or still think dinosaurs might have headbanged to Zeppelin, congratulations. This quiz is practically written for you. Let's see if your memory isn't as fossilized as your record collection. 3 levels of difficulty for those that like to comment on how these quizzes are all too easy. For the rest of you, I'll save you all some time and tell you right now, none of the artists are named What's His Pickle. Let's rock! Level 1. Easy questions even your grandpa's cover band could answer. Who released the song Everybody Wants Some in 1980? Van Halen. The band Aerosmith originates from which American city? Boston. The Chain was a song released on which Fleetwood Mac album? Rumours. Who co-wrote and released the song That'll Be the Day in 1958? Buddy Holly. What's the name of the singer for The Who? Roger Daltrey. The Guess Who were formed in which Canadian city? Winnipeg, Manitoba. Name the 2 brothers of the Allman Brothers Band. Greg and Dwayne Allman. I Want You to Want Me was originally a low-performing single from which Cheap Trick album? In Color. Who wrote and released Roll Over Beethoven in 1956? Chuck Berry. The song Centerfold was a hit for which band? Jay Giles Band. Don't Bring Me Down was a 1979 hit for which band? ELO. What band released 30 Days in a Hole in 1972? Humble Pie. Who had the iconic hit with Inagada Davida? Iron Butterfly. Eye of the Tiger was a huge hit for Survivor, partly due to which movie? Rocky. Jerry Garcia and Bob Weir were members of which band? Grateful Dead. Name the 3 members of Cream. Jack Bruce, Eric Clapton, and Ginger Baker. Which Queen album, their 14th, would be the last with the iconic Freddie Mercury? Innuendo. Down on the Corner is a 1969 song from which band? Creedence Clearwater Revival. Which band released Tube Snake Boogie in 1981? ZZ Top. Strange Days was a 1967 album by which band? The Doors. Just What I Needed was a 1978 hit for who? The Cars. Who had a hit with Amanda in 1986? Boston. Rock and Roll All Night was released on which Kiss album? Dressed to Kill. Who released the song and album Double Vision in 1978? Foreigner. In the Dark and The Stroke were hits in 1981 for who? Billy Squier. Level 2. Deeper cuts, fewer clues. Hope your brain is tuned up. What is Elvis Presley's middle name? Aaron. Which band had a hit in 1964 with their version of traditional folk song House of the Rising Sun? The Animals. What is the title of Jimi Hendrix's third and final studio album? Electric Ladyland. The Beat Goes On, Switching to Glide, was a 1980 hit for who? The Kings. On Van Halen's debut album, Eddie's eruption guitar solo precedes which song? You Really Got Me. What Black Sabbath album first features Ronnie James Dio? Heaven and Hell. Give Me Back My Bullets was what band's fourth studio release in 1976? Lynyrd Skynyrd. Leslie West formed which band in 1969? Mountain. Alice Cooper was formed in which Southwest city in 1968? Phoenix, Arizona. Which band's eighth album, released in 1977, was titled Bad Reputation? Thin Lizzy. AC/DC's Who Made Who was featured on the soundtrack for which movie? Maximum Overdrive. Separate Ways, Worlds Apart is a hit song from which Journey album? Frontiers. Who succeeded Eric Clapton in the Yardbirds in 1965? Jeff Beck. How long is the studio version of Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven? .02 or 8.04 on the remastered version. That said, there's a live version from Berlin in 1980 that is reported to be almost 15 minutes. MC5's debut album was a 1969 live album titled What? Kick Out the Jams. Aerosmith's Same Old Song and Dance was a single from which 1974 album? Get Your Wings. The Zoo is a plodding rocker released in 1980 by which German band? Scorpions. Which of their studio albums did The Who release in 1971? Who's Next? Drummer Jim Capaldi formed which band with Chris Wood, Dave Mason and Steve Winwood in 1967? Traffic. Which artist had a hit album that included songs You May Be Right, Don't Ask Me Why, and It's Still Rock and Roll to Me? Billy Joel, Glass Houses. Guitarist Randy Rhoads co-wrote which two albums with Ozzy Osbourne? Blizzard of Oz, 1980, and Diary of a Madman, 1981. James Gang had two hits with then vocalist guitarist Joe Walsh, Funk No. 49 in 1970, and which song? Walk Away, 1971. Who was the original founding drummer of Cheap Trick? Bunny Carlos. Quiet Riot covered two songs by Slade. Which was the second? Mama We're All Crazy Now. Paul Rodgers, Simon Kirke and Mick Ralphs formed which band in 1973? Bad Company. Level 3. Welcome to Extinction Level difficulty. Only true rock dinosaurs will survive this. Which trio's second album, released in 1977, was titled Rock and Roll Machine? Triumph. Faces was formed in 1969 when the remaining members of Small Faces added which new members? Ronnie Wood and Rod Stewart. Who is mainly known for their version of the traditional folk song Black Betty? Ram Jam. Which band released a cover of the Supremes' hit You Keep Me Hanging On their debut album? Vanilla Fudge. Grateful Dead's song Touch of Grey was from which studio album? In the Dark. Which Michigan band originally released Smokin' in the Boys' Room in 1973? Brownsville Station. Which band released the singles Doctor Doctor and a cover of Come On Everybody in the 70s? UFO. Toxic Twins is a nickname for which two co-writing musicians? Steven Tyler and Joe Perry, Aerosmith. Which British band's fourth studio album was titled Come and Get It? Whitesnake. The title for the Rush instrumental song YYZ is taken from what? It's the airport identification code for Toronto's Pearson International Airport. Which band released the album Face to Face in 1966? The Kinks. What English glam rock band released Love Is Like Oxygen in 1978? Sweet. Released in Canada in 1979, White Hot was a single by which Canadian band? Red Rider. In early 1975, LA producer Kim Fowley started putting together which all-female band? The Runaways. What singer-songwriter released the single Ain't Even Done With the Night in 1980? John Cougar Mellencamp. Who was the drummer in Santana that had an awesome solo at the original Woodstock? Michael Shreve. The song I Love Rock and Roll was a hit for Joan Jett in 1982, but who was the original band behind it? The UK band Arrows. Which well-known guitar player was the only consistent member of the Amboy Dukes from 1964 to 1975? Ted Nugent. Stryper's Michael Sweet served as singer-guitar player in which notable band from 2007 to 2011? Boston. Released in 1973, Who Do We Think We Are was the seventh studio album by which band? Deep Purple. Mr. Wonderful was the second studio album for which British blues rock band? Fleetwood Mac. Jethro Tull's band name is borrowed from what? An 18th century British agriculturist, formed in Flint, Michigan in 1969, who had the hit with We're an American Band. Grand Funk Railroad. Which band was formed in 1967 as Soft White Underbelly, a name the group would occasionally use in the 1970s and 1980s to play small club gigs? Blue Oyster Cult. Steppenwolf's band name was inspired by a novel of the same name written by which author? Hermann Hesse. Well, that was more chaotic than a Marshall stack on fire. If you crushed it, congrats, you're a rock god in a world of auto-tuned peasants. If not, don't worry, even Mick Jagger can't always get what he wants. Be sure to subscribe, like, and hit the bell before your brain goes full Spinal Tap. Until next time, keep your trivia tight and your solos tighter. Melvin, out! Your foggy walnut has survived this long. Might as well roll the dice and see if your luck holds out on the next one.